You've officially tuned in to the Epiphany podcast, and I'm your host, Joanna Lynn. Thanks for joining me on my journey of spiritual growth, restoration, and most importantly, transformation. You've got a front row seat, so take my hand as we journey together. We're on the Epiphany, y'all. Hey, y'all, it is your girl, Joanna Lynn, and we are here for episode 45. This episode is going to be titled Not So Jolly Holidays. I am just excited to be with y'all this morning, this evening, whatever time of day it is that you tune in and you get to listen to me. I know I say this over and over and over, but your girl is humble and your girl is grateful because there was a time period not that long ago where I didn't have friends, I didn't have a community, I wasn't able to utilize my voice, I wasn't able to give my opinion, to speak. I was just in a horrible place. So don't believe for one instant that I take for granted the opportunity to speak into your lives, to be a part of your life. I am eternally grateful and elated that you choose to tune in with me week after week after week, whether it's on your journey to work or on your way getting ready for work or for school, whether it's when you're getting ready for bed and you're just looking for something to kind of relax you and help you start the day, whether it's your motivation at the gym, whatever it is, whenever you have time to tune into the Epiphany, I'm just excited. I am so grateful that you come back and listen to the Epiphany podcast week after week. So, mwah, mwah, if I could see you, hug you, I know it's COVID and all, but many virtual air hugs and kisses and virtual tears. Well, probably real tears for me, but that's another story. Don't shame me. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the episode. First, I do want to say, please, if you've been tuning into the podcast, make sure that you have hit the subscribe button, and also please leave a review on the podcast. That is how new listeners get a feel for the podcast, kind of get an idea of what to expect. I haven't had a new review since January, so going on a year. So please review the podcast on the podcast app. That is how we get new listeners. So there's that. Also, if you haven't heard or if you haven't seen your favorite podcast host, which is me, hope it ain't nobody else. I mean, there's room at the table for everybody, but I gotta be your top 10 or at least your top 5. But your girl is a published author. I cannot get over it. I cannot stop saying it. I am just so excited. Honestly, I'm beyond belief. It's like every day that I package a book and deliver a book, I look at my face on that cover and I want to cry. I really do. Because there was one time where I really thought my face was going to be on a different type of paper, more like a newspaper, or something of that sort. But I've published my first of many books. It is titled Overcoming, Trusting God Through the Process. So if you haven't ordered your copy, please hop on over to my website, www.iamjoannalynn.com. Place your order. If you're local in Southeast Texas, select pickup. I will be glad to meet up with you, take a photo with you, deliver your book. If you are out of town, please select the shipping option and I will be glad to get that book in the mail for you. I genuinely put a lot of love and care into the packaging of my books. I pray over every book. I put a message in every book and I do sign it. So when I blow up and you get to come to one of my speaking engagements or one of my events, you can say, I bought her first book and I got her signature because that is my friend and I know her. So there's that. Just want to spill that tea for you. I also am now on Clubhouse. I am so excited. I've been on Clubhouse for about 3 days and it has been so much fun. I've been meeting so many new people. So if you are on Clubhouse, look me up. Same handle. I'm Joanna Lynn. I'm actually going to start broadcasting my podcast episodes on Clubhouse when I record them. So the podcast drops to you on Thursdays. I usually record them on a Tuesday. Sometimes, if my schedule is a little tight, I might do it on a Wednesday. But you can tune in and hear the episodes early on Clubhouse, and plus get the opportunity to maybe speak or ask a few questions. So I am looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and get started. The not so jolly holidays. I love Christmas. I love Christmas for so many different reasons. For one, I love God and just the fact that we get to celebrate His birth. More than His birth, His creation. The fact that God felt it was necessary to send His Son here in a human form, in flesh. He sent His Son Jesus here to save the world. But Christmas is a season where we celebrate the beginning of the rest of our lives. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being in the room when you were born? And just thinking about what all this child would do, but being in the room when Jesus was born. Wouldn't we all like to be there? I know it was a different time, and everyone didn't quite rejoice at His birth the way we would have, or the way we do, but it's exciting to rejoice at the birth of our Lord and Savior. So there's always that peace. But even the worldly part of Christmas I love. I love Christmas decor. I honestly, borderline, would live in a Christmas decorated home all year long. Don't judge me, please. But I almost would. Or at least one room of the house. That's really my ultimate goal. To have like a Christmas room. Like a Christmas Wonderland. Open the door and you're just transported into the North Pole. But I love Christmas lights, Christmas trees. I love Christmas music. I love the food, the family, all of the wonderful things of Christmas. But the fact is, the holidays are not so jolly for everyone. I myself am kind of experiencing that this year and it's not because of the whole 2020 COVID. That has played a large factor in a lot of people's holiday celebrations. Well, separations is appropriate because there are a lot of people that are going to be separated on the holidays due to COVID. I know here in Texas, we're under, you have that mandatory mask mandate, and restaurants and businesses are only at a percentage of capacity. But in other states, which the news changes, I am not a news person. Let me tell you now, I don't watch the weather. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to the news. I don't read the news because I just don't believe in being persuaded by the media. I'll read certain things just out of interest, but I don't take it to heart. But I have read in several other states and even countries where COVID is just running rampant. The restrictions are going back to being more tightened. I want to say around Thanksgiving, I read in California there was a maximum amount of people you can have in your home. I want to say 6 or 8. And I thought it was kind of funny just to make a joke. And I was like, well, how are they going to know how many people are in your house? Are they going to spend all of Thanksgiving Day knocking on people's doors? Or, how is that going to work? Maybe they're just trusting that you won't go over that. But even in other countries, the lockdowns and the security features, while good, it makes it very difficult to celebrate the way that we are used to celebrating. So there's always that added stress of COVID as far as the holidays, but just regular old stress, just as happy as you may be, there are so many people who are out here who before COVID, don't have families. They don't have husbands or wives or children. They don't have many loved ones, no mothers or fathers or aunts or uncles. And the holidays can be very depressing for some people. The holidays can be very stress filled. A lot of parents are filled with anxiety for trying to meet the pressures. as much as I love the influencing game and checking up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and Snapchat and all of that, there are so many families with, the matching PJs and the perfectly decorated area of their home, um, baking cookies with their children, making gingerbread houses. And I'm not calling all that out to say it just isn't happening, but you and I both know a lot of it is staged. And that is their job, content creators and bloggers, and I love that. I'm actually slightly getting into it, not intentionally, but it's just kind of happening, and I feel like God can use you in any way. So I'm just open to that possibility. But what that does for the regular old person like you and me, when you are consistently faced with these images of perfection, it causes you or tends to allow you to point out your own imperfections in your life. And I'm just going to go with me and I'm going to talk about me for a minute. As much as I love the holidays, this holiday season is a little different for me. We in life, we build traditions. We have every family is different. But so my intermediate family, or immediate family, I have my mother, my brother. Now my brother's in the Navy, so he's never here for the holidays. Then I have my aunt and a few cousins who have children now, so our family has expanded quite a bit since I was a little girl. But we always just had a really simple, Christmas dinner, open gifts. My grandmother, which we never got to spend actual Christmas with because she lived in Amarillo, she passed away in July. So this is going to be our first holiday season without her per se. With technology, we've gotten used to FaceTime and getting to speak to her. But the thing I love about my grandmother, if you haven't heard me say, or if you don't know, I'm a very arts and crafty person. I love to use my hands. I'm very creative. I like to make things, create things, refurnish or remodel, redo things, restore. I just love to do that type of stuff. And I learned that from her since we were small kids. Anytime that we were with my grandmother, we were always working on art projects. And for the holidays, we would always make ornaments. I remember one year we made these reindeer out of a light bulb. It was so cute because you turn the light bulb upside down, so the skinny part is at the top, and we glued antlers. Well, first we sprayed them or painted them brown, glued the antlers, made little faces, and so we always did the cutest little art projects. But when we weren't with her, every year, she has 6 kids and 32 grandchildren, 17 great grandchildren. Every child got a gift on Christmas. She would work year long making candy and making ornaments and gift bags for every single one of her grandchildren. And she would mail them. We usually would get our package in the summer in about July or August, and we would have it to open on Christmas Day. So while we never were actually in her presence, we knew we were loved and thought about on Christmas Day. That never changed. So this will be the first Christmas that we don't get our little packages from Granny. So that's gonna be different. But for me personally, out of high school, I did get into that relationship, and I have not talked to you guys about one of the biggest parts of that relationship I was in. It was not just the mental and the emotional abuse from a man, but he actually had 4 children. And so for me, as much as I talk to you guys about wanting a husband and wanting children, I already have 4 children. That might be new to some of you, old to some of you. Um, this actually is a topic I don't know if I'm gonna make it through without crying. So for 13 years, I had the pleasure of being in these children's lives. They are my babies. They all had graduated school and gotten grown by the time we separated. So they are all in different places doing amazing things. 2 of my children actually have babies of their own. So in so many ways. I'm a grandmother, but that's neither here nor there. People's definition of stepchildren and all that are different, and I appreciate that. I recognize that. I value that input. But for me, I just, you can't be in a child's life for 14 years and not have a bond or a connection with them. But these children, their mother was not in their lives. So I was full on mom every day. And so, with that, as many of you mothers and aunts and grandmothers know, the holiday season was turned up. I love Christmas. They love Christmas. So every year I got to spend my time shopping and um, wrapping gifts and preparing holiday meals, making sure we had all the cutest outfits and doing everything that you awesome mothers do. That was my life for a very long time with four children. So that also is the only life that I knew. I was 18 when I first got in that relationship, and well, actually 17, but by the time I graduated high school and went there. So from 18 to 32, that was my life. That's the only life I know. So here I am outside of that, and you can imagine going through a separation. It's difficult, especially being the step parent. Two of my children still talk to me and still have relationships with me. The other two don't. But even the two that I have a relationship with, it is not like it used to be. For one, they don't live here. They've moved totally different states, so there's that. But because of the nature of my separation from their father, I had to kind of back away from everyone because there really was, especially in the beginning, I was so afraid that he would not be okay with me leaving, that he could, I haven't ever really got into detail about that, but me separating from him, it was not a mutual thing. It was a decision that I made. So leaving under those circumstances in that type of light or atmosphere, it just didn't make for a happy ending. So I recognize and I value the opinions and the feelings of those children. I offered each one of them the same opportunity to remain or keep a relationship with me if they wanted. I gave them that choice. Obviously, in my heart and in my mind and my spirit, they will always be my children. I'm always going to love them. I pray for them every night, every day. I always want to see them have the best and do the best. And I just pray God's immense blessings and peace over their lives. But I recognize not everyone has those same feelings. I recognize that there was already a lot of hurt from them not having their biological mother in their life. And then bonding with me in whatever way. Each relationship was different. Each child was different. Some of them were closer to me than others, and that's perfectly fine. I never was the type of parent or step parent to pressure them or make them feel like, they had to look at me as a mother. I made it a point to be what they needed me to be. If they needed a counselor, if they needed a mentor, if they needed a friend, if they needed a mother, whatever they needed, I was very intentional about being there for them. So I gave them all the same opportunity to keep the lines of communication open and for us to remain a part of each other's lives. Like I said, two of them took me up on that opportunity and two of them did not. But even the two, that aren't here, life is just different. I miss them immensely. I was in church Sunday and it was a Christmas service and our bishop was on stage and they kind of set it up to where it was, like a father or a grandfather telling the Christmas story to the children. So he was sitting there and all the children were kind of on their knees or sitting down around him and he was telling them the story of Jesus. And I'm already an emotional mess, and that just took me out because it reminded me of all those wonderful Christmases I spent with my children, loving on them, hugging on them, just getting to, see their eyes light up when they open their gifts, and seeing their excitement when we would drive around the neighborhoods looking at Christmas lights, and we would watch Christmas movies together and drink hot cocoa and snuggle up under the blanket. And I really, really miss those days. I do. And so, being grown, I'm not a child. I'm grown, right? I have to remind myself that sometimes. But being grown and being single, going from being mom and wife and to four children to being just me, that was an adjustment period without the holidays. But when the holidays come, it's very difficult because there were traditions that we built. There were things that I would look forward to year after year. Although I was going through a lot, the holidays were difficult, but there were happy moments. And coming into the holiday season without them, without, it's just me. And this year, I didn't put up a Christmas tree like I usually do. I didn't decorate, which is very unusual for me. But emotionally and mentally, I've been in a very difficult place. And I have been heavy, heavy in prayer about that, because I want to be intentional about not allowing the enemy to take advantage of my loneliness or fears, because that's what the enemy does. The minute you have a thought that is not so good, that is negative, he will take that and he will run with it. So this year, probably more than others, I have been missing my babies. And I will say this is a very difficult place to be, because, a lot of you, when your children grow up and get older and they go off to college, well, they always come home. You're always going to be their mother. You're always going to be their father. You're always going to have that relationship. You get to look forward to weddings and to grandchildren's birth and birthdays and things like that. But for me, it's almost like we were a family and then we weren't. And so, on the outside, you would say that we're not a family, but on the inside, my heart, I can't tell my heart that those aren't my babies. I can't tell my heart that I don't love them and that I don't miss them. It's a hard place to be, because now, not being able to be in their presence and not having that same role or relationship, you can remove yourself from a situation, but the thoughts and the memories and the emotions don't really change or go away. Like I said, I'm forever going to love them as my own children. You really can't tell me that they're not. I'll fight you if you try. But so it's different. It's just different. That's really the best way I can explain it. The holidays are different for me. So I haven't quite picked up on a routine for just me. It's almost like, and I hate to say it, my mom used to say this all the time when my brother went off to the Navy, because it was just my brother, myself, and my mom. So when my brother left, and at that time, I was, in that relationship. And so a lot of times I did not get to spend time with my mom because I was so busy with my kids and everything. So my mom really was alone. And as much as I regret that and I hate that, but she used to always say, well, it's just me. Why decorate? It's just me. Why cook dinner? It's just me. And so there may be some of you out there where it's just you. Maybe it's just single you. Bro, sis, I get it. It's just me. But that mentality of it's just me, I want to break all of us out of it. It's just me is something to celebrate. Because it also, in my shoes, could have been just me 6 feet under as well. But I'm alive and breathing and happy. I am out here trying my best to do God's work. And so it's just me is something worth praising God for. It is something worth being excited for. So I just want to talk to you all from the bottom of my heart and say, I recognize many of you, this may be your first year after going, this your first Christmas after going through a divorce. This may be your first Christmas after losing your mother or your father. This may be your first year as a single woman or a single man, or even as a married woman or a married man. And all of those things, all of those factors change our holiday experience. It does. And so the holidays can be very stressful because you're trying to please one side of the family, trying to please the other side of the family, trying to please your children, and somewhere in between, we tend to let ourselves go. We tend to not give ourselves the attention that we need. Year after year, month after month, self care becomes more and more difficult because we are always on the grind, always hustling, always working, always studying, going to school, divulging in other people's lives, family members and friends and coworkers. Life is hard, period. But it's 10 times worse for the holiday season. You have so many stipulations, so many requirements, so many expectations that you feel like you can't meet. And so the reason I didn't decorate, and I also am a big gift giver, and I also didn't do that this year either, because I just needed to reset. I just needed to reset. And I'm not trying to be a Scrooge or a bah humbug or anything like that. But I had to say, you know what? I need to focus on Joanna. Because usually I find so much joy in gifting people, but I would let it consume me. Going from store to store to store, from website to website, checking out the sales and the deals and counting my money and making sure all the gifts come in on time, being nervous because the packages and the shipping, the post office is running behind, making sure they're also perfectly wrapped. And wrapping takes time for me because I'm so tedious. My gifts look like gold, they are wrapped perfectly. That's also, and I thought about opening a business for gift wrapping because I love it. I'm not one of them throw it in a bag type of person. If you get a gift from me, it's going to be exquisitely packaged with a handmade bow. I make all of my bows from ribbon. The ribbon will be color coordinated with your wrapping paper. You will have some sort of glitter or shine or something to it. So I put a lot of detail in my wrapping. I usually handwrite letters as well to each person. So while that is one of my joys, it is also very time consuming, and I tend to stress myself out because I want it to be perfect. So this year, I said, no, I'm not doing none of that. I love y'all, but I'm y'all gift this year. If that ain't enough, sister, I don't know what to tell you. So Merry Christmas. I'm here. You hear me, right? My voice is your Christmas gift. Merry Christmas. Be blessed. But no, seriously. The holidays hit different for everybody. And I just want you to be mindful of that. Something else that I'm reminded of, a lot of people struggle with the holidays not because their immediate family stresses them out, but sometimes their extended family stresses them out. Christmas time sometimes is the only time that you see aunties and uncles and cousin Juju and BB and all of them that come around. And in some of your cases, you may have moved away or left town or to get away from all of the mess and the drama and the things that you don't really want to allow in your life day after day, or the family feuds or the old grudges that you have. Whatever it is, every family is different, but we all have issues. So a lot of people dread the holidays because of that. There's a lot of opinions in the room, a lot of grown women and men, sometimes a lot of liquor, sometimes a lot of financial strain. And so it is just a recipe for arguments and things like that. So, but I want you to think about it like this. We, as believers, or just as good people, I'm not pushing Jesus on you if you don't believe in God. I love him. I want you to have a relationship with him. But that's between you and him. I know I'm just doing my part to talk to you about him, but just speaking from a standpoint of a good person with a good heart. Our job is to love people. Our job is to understand when someone snaps at you, when someone is ugly to you, when someone is acting out of character. Their intentions are not always bad. Um, I don't snap often, but I do. I do go off sometimes. I do express my discontent sometimes. And it's not always at the right place, at the right time, or in with the right demeanor. So I want you to be mindful of all of your stressors and recognize that you're stressed, they're stressed. And it can be a recipe for failure if neither one of you are wise enough to recognize that. So when you have to deal with the family or the people that you really don't like, you don't have to act like you don't like them. And you really could like them if you wanted to. You really can try. What I'm saying is be patient with people, be humble, recognize that maybe they don't like the holidays because they had bad holidays as a child, or maybe they've had bad holidays as an adult. Um, I'm very big on you never know what someone is going through. You never know what pain is hiding behind that smile. And a lot of us hide pain behind that smile during the holidays. So I just want you to be mindful of that when you're interacting with people that you usually don't on a day to day basis. Just be mindful and do what you can to be there for people. Suicide, I said this on my story yesterday. Suicide is one of the most depressing things to me. If you're not depressed on your own, you'll be depressed when you realize how many people are committing suicide. And I just cannot fathom the amount of pain and the amount of hurt that a person has to be carrying to in order for them to believe that there is no other way. That is a very difficult place to be. I've been there before, and I never took action on it, but the thoughts were there. And they say that's the biggest thing, whether you actually do it or not. But to me, the thoughts are just as bad, because even after having the thoughts, you feel guilty for having the thoughts. And for me, it's like I never wanted to admit that I had the thoughts because I felt like it made me dirty or it made me bad. So I didn't want to talk to anybody when I really should have been talking to somebody so they could help me sort through those thoughts and emotions. But when we go through things like that, it causes us to clam up and shell up, so again, I want you, if you are of sound mind, if you have a relationship with God, if you know God and you know how good He is and how faithful He is, I need you to take that faith in the room with you when you're interacting with these broken people, with these hurt people. I need you to take the faith and the wisdom and the love of God and show it to everyone around you. There are so many people committing suicide, so many people that are home alone suffering, that are just getting drunk or getting high to make it through the night. And my heart grieves for them because pain is toxic. It's a poison in your veins, and a lot of people, it's a disease that a lot of people cannot come back from. Heartache and pain, it is a disease that will eat away and eat away and eat away at you until there is nothing left. So I just want to encourage you to be that light in somebody's life, to be that blessing, to be that one to open up and say, I'm here for you. I see you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are a child of the God of God. You are a child of the King. You are loved. And if no one else in this world loves you, I do. So I just want you to be mindful that while we're going on with the holly jolly Christmas, that the holidays are not so jolly for everyone. And if you're one of those people that the holidays are not so jolly for, I want to tell you this. It's okay. Everybody doesn't have to live a life full of Christmas throw up. with decorations and cookies and drinks and food, and you don't have to. But just make sure that the reason you aren't participating in those festivities is not rooted in hurt or pain, but simply because you just choose not to. If you feel like you need help, I am pleading with you to get help, to speak to someone. But I hope you guys have a merry Christmas. I love you all so very much. And I just want you to know that I am rooting for your success. I am rooting for you to get better, do better, and be better. We are all trying to grow and mature, become wiser, be more successful, have an abundant life in Jesus. That is His promise to us. So let's just rejoice in the fact that we are breathing. There are so many on this day that don't have that opportunity, and so many that wish they could do it over again. So let's be grateful for the family that we have. We don't want to be in a position where we lose someone and we say, well, oh, I wish I would have. I wish I could have. We don't want to be wishing on an empty star. We want to take the opportunity for today. If COVID and everything else in this world has not taught us one thing, it is that tomorrow is not promised. So I thank God and I thank all of you. I love you so very much. Enjoy your day and y'all celebrate for your girl. Mwah.